On the left is Nifty's chart with RSI 2 period plotted on it. On the right, bank index with RSI 2 period plotted on it. The overbought and the oversold line in both the indicators are at 10 and 90. As you can observe, Nifty gave a sell signal here, which, well, I would say did not materialize much. Another sell signal, to some extent, it did work out. On the buy side, performed well, performed again well, sell, performed well, buy side, quite okay, got the swings, and on the after this downside has generated a fresh buy signal. Same is the case with Bank Nifty, a fresh buy signal. This is RSI 2 period on Nifty and Bank Nifty. In our RSI Vantage course in chartvideo.com, we have gone into details how we can plan and set up our trade for a very short-term swing on the upside. Hello and welcome to the weekend review of week beginning 28th of September 2020. For disclaimer, please refer to chartvideo.com/disclaimer. After 6 down days, we on Friday saw a up day and quite a strong one in Nifty. In the process, it filled a small gap which it had made on Thursday. It was filled and it closed higher. Does it call for a short-term trend reversal, or is it just one day dead cat bounce? In the process of this video, we shall be trying to find out what can happen to the index in coming week. The intermediate term trend is clearly down. The short-term trend has turned up. Like it or not, as of now, the previous higher swing is way above at 11,604. Well, obviously, any swings here, which can be up or down, will be changing the place from where Nifty changes its intermediate term trend. Let's see when it may change. The supports and resistances based on swings are at 11,330 odd levels, thereafter at 11,180. The immediate resistance as of now, which might be of significant in nature, is at 11,120 odd levels. On the downside, supports are at 11,880 and 11,565. The zone which I'll be watching out closely would be somewhere around 11,120 to 11,188 on the upside. If 11,188 is crossed, I might be looking at levels of 11,328. The major reason for looking at 11,300 zone on the upside is because the 50 period SMA is also at 11,298 odd levels. On the downside, Nifty managed to just move ahead from just above the 200-day SMA at 10,757. The weekly chart of Nifty appears quite interesting. It just got support at the 100 SMA. On the downside, it tested the 50 SMA as well. The 13-week SMA represented by the red line is at 11,177 as of now. To sum up, lots of resistances on the upside, quite considerable supports are also on the downside. It will be interesting to see how Nifty pans out in coming weeks. Let us go to the indicator and see if we get some clues therefrom or not. The 14 period RSI has just tested the 30 oversold line and had bounced back. It's still to give any failure swing signals, which is quite essential for an uptrend to develop. As of now, we can just say it is making lower low, lower high formation and is in tandem with price. The ADX trio minus DMI had crossed the previous peak of plus DMI. A negative downside move ensured thereafter. ADX is slightly moving upwards, but at the same time, I would have been satisfied had this movement been a little more stronger. But all the same, the signals from ADX are certainly not positive. It shows that the dominating DMI is the minus DMI and had crossed quite effectively the opposite peak of plus DMI, and as such, on a positional basis, some weakness is predicted by the system. This is Nifty with the 2-period RSI. The overbought and the oversold levels marked here are 10 and 90. If the indicator moves below the 10 level, stays 1 or 2 days inside the 10 level and then moves up, along with it, the Nifty crosses a short-term moving average, it generally generates an upward momentum. It is yet to cross the 5 SMA. If it crosses, we can expect a short-term upside momentum. Here it is what I mean by short-term upside momentum for 3 to 4 days on the upside, for 4 or 7 days on the upside, 6-7 days on the upside. Well, it gave a downside signal, yet it failed. Rather, before that, we did get another buy signal and moved up. Downside signal, it didn't work out as expected, it moved up again. I'd like to remind viewers, if you get a sell signal of this type, which in turn does not work out, it in fact happens to become a strong buy signal. So any signal failing on the charts should not be just regarded as a failure. Instead, one can work out for the other side of the trade. Look at bank index. We had a series of sell signal and buy signal from RSI 2 period, and the result is in front of you. We had almost 7 signals in last 3-4 months. I would say 7 is a very small number to make any directions. For backtesting any system, you should have at least, if not more, 100 such sets, then get a good result. In RSI Vantage course, we had covered up this RSI 2 time period, and the results, well, I would say, was more or less this type only as which has been replicated here. Enroll yourself for the RSI Vantage course and enrich yourself there. Continuing with the 2-period RSI, as you can see, a buy signal here had moved up in a major way. A sell signal which resulted in almost a major reversal in the bank index. As of now, if the 5 period is crossed, you will be having a buy signal with a stop loss below this particular swing, which is at 20,400. Coming to the derivative analysis, the put call ratio, we had discussed this particular ratio in all our weekend reviews. The ratio had gone up to 1.9 level, thereafter had cooled off and stagnated somewhere at around 1.6 odd levels, which has been shown in this particular graph. It had come down to as low as 1.03, and presently in the last 2 days it had moved up and is at 1.31. I would like to add on another interesting aspect which I had discussed in my previous episode of weekend review. Watch here, 1.03. Nifty was at 11,131. On 24th, the market fell in a major way. Put call ratio did not fall, instead it showed higher value. I had told earlier, whenever such phenomenon takes place, expect a strong move in any one direction in very short time period. Here it is, we had a 250-point rally on Friday. Coming to open interest interpretation, the downside in Nifty did not witness any major rise in open interest. Rather, open interest decreased with the downside move, except for the last day where open interest in Nifty increased by 8.7%. This phenomenon too had been discussed earlier. If open interest increases in the later part of the trend, here obviously the trend was down, so late shorters have entered into the system. As long as the trend remains down, it is okay, but if the trend reverses, generally a strong move follows because of short covering. यार ये चीज बोरिंग हो जा रहा है, हर बार तो समझा रहे हैं एक ही चीज, पता नहीं कितने लोग में घुस रहा है. All the same, this is it. We have it here. A strong open interest increase. Thereafter next day, well, no significant rise in open interest. If the open interest does not increase from here, I would say it this way, the rise would be short-lived. But if we see increase in open interest along with price action, well, in that case, upside move may come up. Well, to conclude, if the Nifty as well as the Bank Nifty moves above the 5-period SMA, we can expect a short-term upside rally. Well, we'll be keeping a strong eye on the 5-period SMA in coming week. If it doesn't, if it stays here and thereafter again falters, that will give me a signal of another strong downside. Trading would be easy. Let's follow a simple short-term 5-period moving average. Let's see which way it moves. So much so for this week. We'll meet again the next week.